At 1830 on June 1st, when the convoy was 30 miles north of Heraklion, it was attacked by Baltimore's and Marauders escorted by Mustangs and Spitfires. Baltimore's unsuccessfully bombed on the head in the order Sabine and Hunters. One Baltimore from the 454th Squadron was shot down. Marauders also failed to hit Sabine. 5 minutes later, a wave of bow fighters led by Wing Commander B.G. Maharg of 252 Squadron approached. 8 machines from 252nd Squadron and the same number from 603rd Squadron attacked the ships with missiles. 2 planes from 242nd Squadron together with 4 from 16th Squadron suppressed the ship's air defense, and 2 fighters from 227th Squadron had to deal with the air patrol. Tanais and TA-17 arrived at Heraklion at 2210. Following them, the damaged TA-16 and R-211 reached the harbor on their own. Here at 2250, they were hit by 9 Wellingtons of 38th Squadron, but were not damaged. Gertrude was taken in tow by TA-19 and dragged to Heraklion, accompanied by TA-14. During the tow to one of the destroyers at 2236, released 4 torpedoes submarine Vox, but the Germans safely reached the harbor at 0430 June 2nd. Blazing Sabine, round 2 tons, was killed by a torpedo of one of the destroyers. The British were intent on completely destroying the convoy, and in the afternoon of June 2nd, sent to Heraklion group of bombers consisting of 11 B-26 Marauder, 24th Squadron, as well as 9 Baltimore, 15th, and 2 454th Squadrons. It appeared over the harbor at 1740. While the Marauders were smashing harbor warehouses, the Baltimores struck the Gertrude in the midships. When the flames reached the ammunition in the bow, the steamer exploded, damaging port facilities and the adjacent residential area. The shockwave overturned TA-16, which sank at 2015. 4 crewmen were killed. On June 16th, the shallow water wreck was raised, but an examination showed that the damage was too great. The hulk of the old destroyer was abandoned and subsequently destroyed. The survivor of the massacre, Tanais, 1545 tons, did not escape its fate. Returning from Heraklion to Piraeus, accompanied by the Hunter UG-2142 and patrol boats GK-05 and GK-06, the ship at 0231 on June 9th was spotted by the British submarine Vivid. At 0312, the submarine fired 4 torpedoes at the primary target from 2,400 yards. 2 of them hit the Tanais, which rocked to the bottom. Of the 492 Italian prisoners of war on board, only 12 survived. The May 31st–June 2nd convoy was the last to be sent to Crete. After the serious losses suffered in this operation, the Kriegsmarine Command in the Aegean decided that it would only supply the Island with small ships following on their own. The fateful night at Portolago. Meanwhile, late in the evening of June 11th, a convoy of ships Agatha, Anita, Corolla, and Celsius left Piraeus for Leros, escorted by destroyers TA-14, TA-17, and TA-19, and Rombots R-178 and R-195. The convoy's route was out of range of the bow fighters from Cyrenaica, and it arrived safely at Portolago at 12:30 on 13th June. TA-14, TA-17, and TA-19 and the Roundbots then escorted the Agatha and barge F-497 to Rhodes and returned to Leros. Here, on the night of 17-18 June, the destroyers of the 9th Flotilla came under attack by British Special Forces conducting Operation Sunbeam A to destroy ships in Portolago Harbor. Lieutenant J.F. Richards's group of 6 Royal Marines was taken to the site by the ML-360 gunboat. In 3 canoes launched from it, 2 saboteurs in each, the group sneaked into the harbor in the dark and attached magnetic skeet mines to the hulls of moored ships before returning safely to ML-360. From 0445 to 17 Sur on June 18, explosions rattled Portolago. Auxiliary patrolman GD-91 and tugboat Titan went to the bottom, and destroyers TA-14 and TA-17, blown up by 2 and 5 charges, respectively, suffered serious damage. In particular, TA-14 suffered 2 large holes in the port bow, causing flooding of the forward compartments, but the crew managed to keep the ship afloat. After temporary repairs, both destroyers went to Piraeus, where they were overhauled, but circumstances were such that they never went to sea again. A new defeat on June 19. the destroyer TA-19 left Portolago escorted by 2 roundbutts and 3 R-196 to escort the ship Anita to Rhodes. But off Calymno, she was attacked with 25-pound rockets and guns by 8 Beaufighters of 252 Squadron. Hit by 1 missile in the midships, the destroyer returned to Leros, and from there went to Piraeus, where it began a 3-week repair. The British lost 1 aircraft. Since now all 3 destroyers of the 9th Flotilla were in repair, the Germans began to urgently withdraw from the conservation of TA-18. British Ventura and Wellington tried to bomb Agatha and Anita in the harbor of Rhodes, but the ships, unloaded, accompanied by Rambatov and patrol boats, safely left there in the evening of July 2nd. At 20 Est on July 2nd, 8th Beaufighters of 252 Squadron flew from Gambit to search for ships between Rhodes and Kos. At 22:52, Squadron leader Ian Butler spotted 2 vessels 2 miles apart northwest of Rhodes and fired on the lead vessel with no apparent results. Flying Lieutenant Wyatt then fired 8 60-foot rockets at the rear vessel. A violent explosion followed and the vessel went up in flames. The other Beaufighters came out to the blaze and fired 25 and 60-pound rockets at the same target. The ship, and it was the Agatha, 1,579 tons, sank early the next morning. Anita, 1,161 tons, briefly survived her companion. At 0900 on July 10th, submarine Vox spotted this vessel off Andros, escorted by R-34, R-38 and R-210 roundbots and 2 R-196 aircraft. At 10 a.m., 3 torpedoes were fired at Anita from 1,500 yards, one of which hit the target. The ship was beached, but later that day sank during an unsuccessful towing attempt. On July 13th of 14, the Allies raided Simi Island, Operation Tenement. 100 SAS and 224 Greek Holy Squadron soldiers disembarked from the Levant flotilla boats, crushed the garrison's resistance and captured all the island's strongholds before evacuating, destroying stores, defenses, and boats caught in the harbor. Allied losses totaled 2 dead, while the Germans and Italians had 21 dead and 151 prisoners. The boats of the first flotilla concentrated on the task of preventing the supply of the garrisons of Crete and the Dodecanese Islands. The only reefer in the Aegean Sea, Suzanne, 552 tons, which together with the hunters UG-21 Teen and UG-2151 sheltered in the bay off the island of Tinos, was destroyed by a torpedo submarine, Vivid, in the morning of July 14. On August 9th, the Greek submarine Pipinos, surveying the northern coast of Samos, sighted the destroyer TA-19 and the merchant ship Orione in Karlovasi harbor. At 1700 hours, as the destroyer put to sea, Pipinos fired a 4-torpedo salvo at it from 2,500 yards. The torpedo that hit TA-19 split the ship in 2, and she sank quickly.